Ralph Sampson. What's happening, Ralph? How are you?
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Good morning.
All is good. I had a thought because you were, God, the most decorated Cavalier in the history of the game until, or kind of alongside now, Malcolm Brogdon, who's been unbelievable. Before we get to that young man, because I think he's very impressive, I'm interested in your thoughts on Terry Holland versus what's happening there now. I mean, Terry took you guys to the NCAA tournament three times, right? 3 times to the tournament. But what they've done now has been unbelievable. Is there a similarity in structure and philosophy and mindset that's come to this Cavalier squad?
Well, you have to understand, I call it the Holland years. He started the foundation of the program in 1976 with Wally Walker winning the ACC title and then going to the NCAA tournament. And once I got there, we won the NIT, we go to the Final Four my second year, and then the March Madness for the next 2 years. Then after I leave, they go to the Final Four again. So 2 Final Fours in a period of 4 or 5 years, and then years after they continue to have a really, really good team. So, Tony Bennett is a great coach for the time and era of Virginia basketball today, but the foundation was set by Coach Holland. And obviously I love him to death, and things were set back then. So no comparison whatsoever because somebody had to lay the foundation. It's like, Dean Smith in North Carolina and what he did, and now Roy Williams and what he's doing. And actually they coached together at North Carolina. So when you got history like that, it's just kind of not good at Virginia because it didn't last for 30 years between, 40 years between ACC Player of the Year, myself, and then Malcolm Brogdon. That's way too long.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad the program.
You should have stuck around.
Tony Bennett, now and doing and having wild success.
Yeah. What can you point to with Malcolm Brogdon? Because his game is unique. He's not only an offensive juggernaut for this Cavalier squad, but he's also the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC. And in the last round when they needed to shut down the opposing star, they put him on him. I mean, tell us about this kid because you've been around the program, you've seen him grow up in this program, and he's a Naismith in the finalists for one of the best players in college basketball.
Well, he's a staple. Over the last couple of years, you see what Virginia has done, and they transformed the program, and Malcolm Brogdon has been right in the middle. You can't bother him. You can't. He's steady. He can shoot the three. He can drive to the basket. Some people say he's a little bit slower foot. He's smart. He knows how to play defense. He knows the game situation. I've never seen a player like that in years at the college level that just kind of that sharp of a player. And so as Virginia goes, he goes. If he's playing and he's playing well and he takes it on himself to get out there and do it, which he can every night, He knows who's playing well, who's not playing well. I'm not seeing anything like him in a very long time. And so I think he, will carry Virginia to the Final Four. And if he's ready to play every night, then they should win the Final Four. Should be the national title, the champs. But it's going to be on his shoulders, which is, he has big shoulders, and everybody else has to play. He understands where everybody needs to be at every given time. Game situations, for me, it's a beautiful thing to watch because you don't see players like that. And then he's steady. He doesn't have tattoos. He's a great kid, comes from a great family. It's very impressive for me to watch.
Ralph, do you think he's going to be a good pro?
I think he will. I think he'll be a very steady pro. He reminds me of Andre Miller and players like that that's had long-term tenure in the NBA. Andre Miller's slower foot. I think he may be still playing today.
He is.
Today's market in the NBA, you have to be with the right team. He's going to get drafted by a bad team, and hopefully he can find his way to a good team. But if you're not with the right team that has that style, then he's going to suffer a little bit, and then he'll find his way, and then I think he'll be successful anyway.
We're talking to the great Ralph Sampson, first overall pick back in '83, and he's talking about Brogdon's possible success in the NBA. I can't help but notice there, Ralph. I went back doing a little research, and a lot of these names I certainly remember from watching as a kid. Sidney Green was in your draft. Dale Ellis, terrific shooter. Jeff Malone, really good shooter. Derek Harper as well with the Mavericks and the Knicks. The one thing I noticed, aside from the fact that the Heat and the Raptors and the Magic and a few other teams didn't even exist, is that there's not a single European player taken in the first round. When you were, when you were taken back in '83, the game's changed so much. If Ralph Sampson was in college right now, I know it's almost an impossible question to answer. I'm curious, though, would you have the same style? Would you have augmented your play given the European influence? What would Ralph Sampson be like in 2016?
I think I'd still be the same player. I don't think I would change the nature of the way I played.